And that there was the Chief of Staff today delivering that very tragic news that we've lost 7 members of this great society of ours called Ghana, 2 of them indeed cabinet ministers. We now know the identities, as he mentioned. The first, obviously, is a defense minister, Dr. Omane Boamah. The second, as he mentioned, is Murtala Muhammed. Murtala Muhammed was here just 2 months ago for one of his last major interviews. And we remember him tonight on PM Express, speaking to me on PM Express just 2 months ago. And he was here to talk about illegal mining. One of the things that indeed had consumed him, but also had consumed Omane Boamah. In fact, it is the reason why he was traveling today and met his death in that plane crash. He was heading to the launch of one of the initiatives he announced will happen on PM Express. At the time, he did not know when exactly that event will happen, but he was certain that he himself, together with his colleague Omane Boamah and the Lands and Natural Resources Minister, of course, under the leadership of the President, will somehow find a solution to this most threatening of threats. I'm talking about the illegal mining problem. So today he got on a helicopter to go to the launch of this anti-Galamsey initiative that was being launched. And that helicopter he was flying in, Z9, crashed. This is Murtala Muhammed on PM Express 2 months ago, talking about one of the things that was on his heart that he really wanted to do as a minister. Watch.
Well, Ivan, say good evening and good evening to our cherished viewers. And Ramadan Mubarak to my fellow Muslim brothers and sisters who are engaged in this month of Ramadan. And let me thank Dr. Kenneth for his warm words of my PhD. It's humbling, you know, when you have such words. And I think that it is encouraging to other young people who want to get engaged in the field of academia for the good of our country. I didn't know whether I should laugh or cry when I was listening to him. You are talking about a government that is just 2 months. You are talking about a government which has just finished constituting its ministers. And then you come and make this conclusive statements as if to say that the government has failed in fighting Galamsey when we lived with the mess for 8 years and we didn't see the vigor, the energy with which he's making the kinds of commentary he's making. Erastu's documentary, is he telling me that those equipments were moved in, the infrastructure were built within 1 month? Because mind you, the documentary was aired just within 1 month, so a little over 1 month of the NDC's administration. If there is an infrastructure that aids the engagement in such mess, it was done under the previous administration. And you make a conclusive statement as if all these things happened under the NDC. I mean, I just think it's just unacceptable, except that there's a motive why he and many other people engages in that. That is not to say.
I mean, Dr. Shibe's record on this subject spans not only your government, not only the previous government, but even the government preceding.
Look, Evans,
so his record on this subject is impeccable.
No, that is
because you make the point about motive.
No.
His motive is simply the environment.
I'm saying that, please. That is not to say that his activism against Galamsey started under this government.
Yeah.
But I'm interrogating the reasons and the rationale behind the kinds of conclusions he came to.
But one conclusion he came to,
yes,
which is what I played, John Mahama. He says, John Mahama says, I will repeal the LI. Yeah. You have 62 days.
Evans.
It takes 21 sittings of Parliament
Evans.
for an act to be repealed.
I am the Minister for Environment.
What has happened to
Hold on. I am the Minister for Environment. None of you called to find out how far we have gone with that LI. Dr. Ken is a good friend of mine. He didn't see the need to call me, Honorable Minister. What has happened to the LI? Well, as I was sitting there and I was watching you, I was just laughing. As a matter of fact, we have started the process to repeal the LI.
So what has happened to this?
Hold on.
That is really why I invited you.
Please, I'm coming. President Muhammad made these promises anchored on 120 days. He said that within 120 days, I'm going to do A, B, C, D. We're on just a little over 60 days. And then you guys could come to that outrageous conclusion, as if President Muhammad failed to honor the promise he made to the people of this country. As I talk to you, we wrote, mind you, the LI ought to be initiated from the Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology. We started the process last 2 weeks. In fact, that was barely a week after I was sworn in. We did what we needed to do. I signed the letter to the Minister of Justice and Attorney General. The ministry looked at it and did what they needed to do and returned the letter to me for another one to be signed, which I signed last Thursday. So if you do not have information that you can easily access, if you so minded to call me or call the Ministry of Environment, Science and Tech, you haven't done that.
For clarity, the bill has been drafted?
It has been. I have even signed.
Okay, so when is it going to Parliament?
It will be laid before Parliament. Mind you, well, very soon. It can happen this week. It can happen perhaps.
But you are the minister. I'm
saying that it can happen this week. It can even happen tomorrow next because we have budget to be read. But one thing I can tell you that it will happen as soon as possible. So, but that is beside.
But you don't have clarity exactly.
Hold on. I'm saying that why we made a promise, and it was part of the 120 days promises President Muhammad made. Wait and see whether it will be delivered within that. If there was,
will it be delivered?
Absolutely. I have just told you.
So without a shadow of doubt, and just for clarity,
yes,
the LI 2462 will be repealed before the expiration of 120.
Absolutely. I mean, all the promises President Muhammad made, that within 120 days, this are my solemn promise that I'm making to the people of this country. Tell me, hasn't he delivered so far the promises he made? The number of days he's taken to constitute his government, all the promises. And I'm saying, now if a promise was made that I'm going to do ABCD within 120 days, and by 60 days, you come to these outrageous conclusions you guys are coming to, that President Muhammad, what has happened to it, when you easily could have called me, or even called anybody within the ministry, or even Minister of Justice and Attorney General, what has happened to the LI? If it is not about sensationalism, if it is not about we also need to be seen criticizing a government that is less than just 3 months, that is just barely 2 months, I think that is outrageous. And to be very honest, as I talk to you, we started working on this 2 weeks ago. I am just getting to my 3rd week as a Minister for Environment. 2 weeks ago, barely just 1 week after I was sworn in, I was instructed to start the process by no less a person than His Excellency, the President.
And yes, Murtala Muhammed was fierce. He's one of those individuals, anytime you interview him, you just have to be on top of your game. You have to bring your A game all the time. He believed in what he was doing and he would defend it to the hilt. He didn't mean that he was abrasive. He was just assertive, a man who just believed in his cause, believed in what the task the president had given him, and he would defend his government and his work to the hilt, which is exactly what you saw him do in that one of his last major interviews that he granted. This was in March. And he was talking about illegal mining. He was passionate about it. The time, yes, his administration, the administration was young. He himself, as a minister, had just stepped into the role, and he was beginning to put things in place to try and deal with this menace.